Hello everybody, this is Jack Dennis and welcome you to our Jack Dennis Fly Fishing channel on YouTube. For the next few days we're going to be posting a lot of fly tying segments. Coming back when I first started doing fly fishing videos, you'll see I've miraculously changed into a young man. But I want to thank you for being with us, and I want to wish everybody happy holidays, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah. It's a holiday season, and it's not a whole lot to be joyous about other than the vaccine. I hope everybody is making it through the pandemic, and I hope that you enjoy our fly tying sessions. We're bringing a variety of topics. I've got over 4,000 hours of videos going back all the way to in the 60s, and over the next 6 months we'll be bringing new and exciting things, plus things that are pertinent for today. A lot of my stuff has been back in the past, and what we're going to do is bring you forward with a lot of interesting possibilities. We're working on a weekly show that won't be live, that will be taped, and it will have a variety of different new things in fly fishing, reviews, thoughts from all around the country and the world about fly fishing as we slowly, and I hope slowly, head out of this pandemic. The first tying sessions you'll have are going back to the basics, which I did many years ago. Muddler minnows, irresistibles, all the old-time patterns that have kept around. We'll also be talking about the parawolf, which has been one of my favorite flies and most successful flies with uncaught feather merchants. So anyway, enjoy, have a happy holiday. I mean, to me, the holidays start now and go all the way to the 15th. And some of you...
There are a lot of classics in this fly fishing world. Take, for example, the Winston Cane rod, an original artwork by Mike Stidham, and the Muddler Minnow. It's been around as long as this rod. Anglers like Kurt Gowdy and Joe Brooks called it their favorite all-around fly. Why? It can be fished as a dry fly, it can be fished as a streamer, it can catch ocean fish. It's probably the best all-around fly in our fly arsenal. Let's learn how to tie it. The materials you're going to need for the Muddler Minnow include yellow floss, gold embossed tinsel, and turkey quills. It is getting tougher to find good turkey quills, so you may have to use an imitation quill with brown barred color. Coarse deer body hair, also some fly tying cement, a heavy A monocord or super strength thread, lead, and squirrel tail. As for a hook, you may want a 2X, 3X, or even a 4X long streamer hook. Now let's go to the Muddler Minnow. Notice that I have my lead on a bobbin. You can now buy lead already attached to bobbin spools. Makes it very convenient. Look how easy I'm wrapping the lead out. Okay, now we're going down the hook. Now this is important to leave yourself a lot of room. It should go approximately 2/3 of the way down the hook. Let's squeeze it together and make sure the lead is in there very tight. There we go. Okay, now we're going to get our fly tying thread out and wrap over the lead. This is important so the lead doesn't twist on you. This is a good heavy thread, a monocord or super strength. Now at this point we've got to allow ourselves room here so we can tie on our wing. Now notice where the point of the hook is. This will give you a good reference. Now this is a modeled turkey quill, one of the older quills, and this is a new imitation quill. You're going to find a tough time finding the old model turkey, but if you do a wild turkey hunt you can get it. Now this is a commercially grown white turkey that's been dyed brown, and here is some of the wild turkey that we talked about that you can find yourself. You can dye it also brown. We're going to take some of the wild turkey, trim it off, Now this is a problem that a lot of people have here, is getting the wing cocked right. The important thing is getting it prepared before you go. See how I gave it a little bit of a cocking action? Now we're going to tie it in. The wrap's going to be loose, and we're going to tie it in and push up with my thumb and finger to cock it, and then wrap back. See how we're doing that? Look at that. Nice cocked tail. Now we've got some floss on a bobbin. This is really the best way to wrap out your floss, especially the 4-strand floss, so it keeps it all together. Now there's a reason I put floss over the lead body, is that if we ever lose our tinsel, we still have a yellow body showing through, and we won't have to throw our fly away. There, we make sure it's plenty of room up the front. Here we go with our tinsel. Lay it flat on the side. Now this embossed tinsel can be real sharp, so wrap it very carefully. There we go, right to the back. Now if we just wrapped our tinsel and the tinsel would break, we'd just have lead and thread. So instead, we're going to wrap floss. We'll pull it around to the front so we don't wrap over the tail and uncock the tail. And make sure you have it all together. Now, I trimmed it off the bobbin. Now, one of the problems is that the bobbin will get in the way of the other bobbin, but it's still a better way of dispensing your floss. Here we go with the floss. Nice smooth body. Now we're going to tie it off. There we go. Trim it off. Now, one of the nice things about doing this is when you wrap your tinsel forward, you do not have to have it nice and even. You can let some of the gold floss show through. It gives a real interesting effect. See that? Look at that. Not bad. So here we go. We're going to wrap forward. Yep, got to get it going here. Got to get some rhythm up here. There we go. Right there. Nobody ever accused the Muddler Minnow of being a fast fly to tie. There we go. Got to be careful here. Then make sure you get it in tight and wrap back. Lots of times I'll drop some cement on the tinsel at this point to help it be a lot more durable. Okay, we're going to trim our tinsel off and take a look at our scissor points here. Now this is a very important situation where we've got to understand our scissor points as a measuring tool. Now we're going to put on some squirrel tail. Now we can use badger, we can use wolf, we can use kip tail or calf tail, a bunch of different things for the underwing. And all the underwing really does is keep the big turkey wing that we're going to tie in from wrapping under the tail. And it adds a little bit more coloration. Okay, it's important that we get it in tied in very well, and we don't want too big of a hump here because we've got to tie on the turkey wing. Now, we talked about the scissor points, and you're going to see how important that is. See that? There's our scissor points. Now, we're going to use that as a measuring tool because it's very important when we cut off the turkey quill that we get exactly the same size. Notice how I used the points to cut the feather. Now, we're going to go around to the other side because we want one from one side and a wing from the other, measuring exactly the same with the scissor points. Now we're going to come out, hopefully, with a wing that matches perfectly. Melts right together. Now what we're doing is we're putting the dull side to dull side, just like that. Now, we can take our scissor points if we have too much of a wing, and we can take our scissor points and take some of it out. Now we'll make sure that it's very even. Now see that? There we go. Get that little scissor point in there, and we can take out some of the turkey so they match absolutely perfect. It's got to be like one wing. Here we go. And lay it up there. Nice cocked wing. We want to make sure that it's even in line with the tail. We do not want it to be longer than the tail. And we take one wrap and cock it, another couple wraps, and make sure we have it tied in. Again, see how I'm pushing forward with my thumb and my finger. That's what we do to cock the wing. A lot of people have a problem with the wing, and most of the time is they're not tying it in on top. They're tying it in at the side and letting it twist. And the wing has got to be absolutely perfect. It's got to be like one wing. If one side of the wing is too big, it will roll over and cause you problems. Now we're going to hit it with some cement. We're using a flow-through cement bottle, so the cement just zaps right on in. Look at that. And that penetrates in, and that will help make this fly a lot more durable. We wrap through the cement. Now it's time to put on the most frustrating part of this fly, and that is the deer hair head. Now we're picking a nice, coarse, very hollow. We get this hair mainly from the rump on a younger deer. We still do not want a big old buck. We want a nice, soft, and I usually prefer tanned hair for this. Now notice how the band of white tips are even. Now we're going to take our thumb and separate the hair using one clump directly on the side, tight, tighter, tightest. Notice that we are not spinning the hair. It's really flaring hair. This is an important part of tying the deer hair head. It's frustrating at times learning to tie the right amount of hair on. You're going to have to practice. Start with a little bit and gradually add hair. And pretty soon, all of a sudden, you'll have the right amount. Now we have to go around on the other side with another clump. Now we're going to put that between our thumb and 2 fingers and lay it right on the side. Using our 2 fingers to shake the hair out and make it separate. There we go, a little shake, rock and roll, tight, tighter, and tightest. And maybe another wrap for good measure. Now it's time to tighten the head up, compress it, and wrap in front. Now most of the times this is all you need for a muddler, but occasionally you may want a bigger head, for example to imitate a big sculpin. So we're going to add another clump of hair to make a larger minnow head. Okay, we're going to take a nice clump, pull out some of the small hairs, trim the front, just like we did on the Irresistible, and the base of the hair. Lay it right on top, tight, tighter, tightest, and this will spin just a little bit. It's permissible. Now we're going to compress it and tie off our head. Now the fun starts. We got to give the fly a haircut. First of all, we start on the bottom and trim it fairly flat, especially if we're looking for a sculpin head. Now there's several ways we can tie this. We can tie a ball-shaped head for smaller minnows. We can tie a flat, kind of a delta-shaped head to imitate your sculpins. We can add different colors of deer hair, different shades of dyed body hair to create a multicolored effect like you would find on a big sculpin. This is one of the most versatile flies you can ever use. How you trim the head determines whether it be a dry fly or whether it be a wet fly, especially on how you trim the front of the head. If you leave it tapered, it's going to ride deeper in the water. If you leave a big, bulky head, it's going to pop and rise more towards the surface. Very important if you want it to ride low in the water to taper the head bullet-shaped, especially on the smaller flies that are unweighted. Notice how I'm using my scissor points to taper the head. Again, we're working it down just like we did the Irresistible. Have a nice ball-shaped head. This is the way I usually prefer my muddlers for fishing from a boat, something that will ride very low to the surface and will be very realistic. One of the important things to trim all the underhair off so it doesn't interfere with the hooking action of the fly. The Muddler Minnow has always been a favorite fly of mine.